Hey Apprenti-squad, have you ever had troubles transferring the details from your patterns onto your EVA foam? In this video, I'm going to go through exactly how I have found to be the easiest way to transfer your scoring lines, your detail lines, your lines where overlaps are going to happen onto your foam quickly and easily without tearing up your pattern. All right, so you can see here is an example of one that I just did. I have all of these wood burning lines that I need to do here for this Clone Trooper helmet. We'll be coming out with this video on the channel soon. And I need to be able to do all these lines and mark this line here and mark where this is going to overlap. A bunch of stuff all at once on one piece. But if I were to just cut all of these to be able to transfer them, it'd be tons of little pieces and be really hard to transfer onto the foam. So let me show you a trick using this piece of how I go about keeping my pattern completely intact while being able to transfer detail lines such as this onto your foam. All right, so here we go. I've got the Clone Trooper pattern piece here, and you'll see I have a couple things I need to transfer detail-wise onto the foam. These are going to be an groove cut and an underscore cut, so they're going to both go on the back side of the foam. One thing you want to make sure to do when you're transferring your patterns is make sure you're transferring your registration marks as well. Let me just show you guys real quick. I like to use this little pattern notcher. It makes marking out your registration marks very easy, so that when you go to trace this on, you can mark those and be able to line everything up properly. Outside of that, let's talk about how we can transfer these lines on to our foam easily without tearing up our pattern. All right? So get your dope knife or your weapon of choice. Make sure you're nice and sharp, just like if you're going to be cutting your foam. Hone it up just a little bit. Now, the trick here is to start not on the edge, but give yourself a little bit in from the edge, and then you're just going to press into the paper. Just cut along that line. If it gets to start to be a longer line, you can stop, skip a little gap, go back in and keep going. Now, these intersections are going to be what would really be a killer normally when you get to these intersections. So as I approach the intersection, I am going to pick one of these three sides that I want to take completely to the center, which I'm going to take this one. So I go completely to the center there. So I took this line all the way to the center. Now for these two, I'm not going to go all the way. When I start cutting into these lines, I'm going to give a gap from that center, go out just a little bit, probably about 1/8 of an inch or so, and start cutting along there. Now once again, you can pick up in the middle and just give a little bit of a gap, 1/8 of an inch gap or so, and then keep cutting. And then before I get to the end here, I'm going to stop once more, okay? So now this green one that continues this way, once again, I'm not going to go right to the center. I'm going to give a 1/8 of an inch gap and then start. And then same thing once I get to this point here. Actually, I'm going to take this one into the corner. And then for these two, I'm going to stop early. So this one, I'm going to just take the cut all the way along. And then stop about 1/8 of an inch before I reach the edge, and then once more, same thing, start 1/8 of an inch in. And this is kind of a long curve, so I'm going to just give a little bit of a skip here, and then finish it off, and then once again, stop before you get to the edge. So you can see now I have these cut lines here that are ready and able to transfer onto my foam. So then when I come in with my pen or marker or whatever I'm using, I can pin this down to my foam and I can reach in there in between those lines and draw those lines right on. Now obviously where we did our little 1/8 of an inch gaps, it's going to have a little bit of a space, but then once you do is once you lift your pattern up, then you'll just have those little gaps that you just fill in, just connect the dots from there. So you can do this. I have a couple pieces here, just let me show you. So I showed you this one, lots of cuts in it, but it's still, the pattern's still well intact. Here is another example. This one has all these different cuts that are happening and marking where something's going to overlap that I need to trace on, and another overlap here. And if you can see, I just do the same technique where you just kind of do skips here and there where it's appropriate so that your entire pattern can stay completely intact. Here's one more example. So right here, I've got these undergroove cuts, and where I have to mark 3 lines because I mark the center and then the edge of either side where I need to start and then cut to the center, so that way I get the right angle I need. And so I did the same thing, right? You can see. And then I also have this that's being marked of where something else is going to line up. And so there's lots of cuts in this for me to be able to trace, and my bevel angle here. Lots of stuff going on, but I'm still able to just take the whole pattern, place it on there, come in with the right color, mark it onto my foam, mark my registration marks, and I'm set to jet. Without having to tear up my pattern, cut it all up, or cut it into pieces, and then try to figure out getting those pieces to line up right. It's all still lined up perfectly. You just set it on your foam, trace it, cut it out, and you're set to go. So hopefully this was helpful for you. If it was, please let me know in the comments below and share it with a friend that you know it would help out. And cosplay on, my friends. See you.